with our honorable attorney, Dan Sigler.
Thank you. First, April, we're on the second reading of that, of the fee ordinance for the recorder's office for the, what's the ordinance called?
It's a long title.
All right, the long title ordinance that you passed. Thank you. An ordinance of the Whitley County Board of Commissioners establishing the manner and form in which the recorder may provide bulk form copies to a bulk user. And as you'll recall, that you approved at the last meeting which I said had to be a first reading because it involved fees and you're instituting fees in here, and so that's why we need the second reading. Again, to refresh your recollection, I approve the ordinance for content and legal sufficiency.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, since then I have completed our cost analysis study, and at just a quick analysis, I can verify that cost us at least 66 cents to provide bulk. We have to collect at least 10. I'm asking for 13, so we can't go any higher than 20 cents, but it costs us 66 cents to do it.
Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That is the annual software agreement, the replication cost for the scanning of our records, and the software to provide the streaming to the one company that receives that, divided by how many documents we've
Okay, so per copy, we're still losing money at this fee schedule.
Correct.
And so, but you have the next year or 2 years from now, you can come back and ask for an increase if it makes sense, correct? Are you advocating for a higher fee schedule?
When I asked the other district, Northeast District recorders, what they plan to do, most of them decided they were going to stay at 10 cents. There were a few counties, Allen County said they were going to try to change theirs to 13 also, but I don't think anybody is going to go up to the full 20.
Okay, so that's
So I'm just
an issue
kind of-
for the future that these guys need to keep their eye on then.
Yeah, just so we have documentation that it does cost at least that amount to provide those records.
Thank you, April. Okay, we got our second reading. What's ordinance number is 2017-05.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2017-05.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
Thank you.
Scott Wagner has before you the proposed tattoo ordinance. I've read it for content and approved it. It's rather voluminous. I didn't write it, so don't blame me for that. But it is. I think it's a well-written ordinance, and I think it covers what needs to be covered. It also has a license procedure or amount in it, correct?
Right, the fee change is in the ordinance.
We're changing the fee from what it presently is.
Correct.
And this is a very encompassing ordinance, so.
Yes, it is.
And Scott's going to take care of all future tattoo parlor problems. I'm glad to report.
Curtains, yes.
But the ordinance is well done, and I think it's obviously, I think it's lawful. I think it's available for you to vote on.
Okay, thank you.
So it does not take a second reading?
No, it does.
It does?
It's going to take a second reading because it changes the fee from
Okay.
what was prior. That, yeah.
Hey, this will be our first reading then.
Question, have the fees gone through the fee committee?
They did not go through the fee committee. I think there are 2 other counties in our district that actually do tattoo ordinances.
Yeah, okay.
I can take that through them, because it's been since 2005 25 since we did anything, and they're only going up $25 for individual and $200 for the facility.
And I totally understand. I
can
do.
bring it back through them if you'd like.
But you can understand, the next department head's gonna say, Scott didn't have to go through the fee committee.
Yeah, I think you can go through between now and the second reading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because if they say no, then it's not passed
Go back and
anyway.
change.
Absolutely. It's not a very tough job. I just don't want to set a precedence here.
It's part of the process. Do we need a motion?
We're gonna have an ordinance
motion.
number.
Ordinance number
2017-06.
2017-06.
I move we approve the first reading of.
Got a motion to approve?
I don't want to second without
With the,
on the condition it goes in front of the fee committee before the second reading. That's how
That'd be
it's-
just fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah, this has been advertised, that will work. That'll
okay.
work.
So I'd second the.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
Will that add anything to 6 pages double-sided, do you think?
I wanted to make sure that we covered all issues that I've dealt with the
I
last
think
20 years.
Good job.
So,
Good job.
You know,
We may call you in
Does
for a
it
lot
say-
more ordinances to.
that brings up an issue, though, that this is just a shot across your bow for now, but probably how often do we have the code of ordinance book redone or updated?
Yearly.
Huh?
Yearly.
Yearly, okay, so it is through last year, okay. Question answered.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Scott. Okay, April, we've got taken care of. Did you have anything more, April? Did she leave us?
She's gone.
Okay,
Send it on.
Randy Kokel, EMS dispatching issues?
Good afternoon.
Hi, Randall.
It's a beautiful day in Whitley County. I wanted to get each of you a copy of the Columbia City Post and Mail.
We can get copies.
Oh, great, now you have two.
Thank you.
Now you have two.
They do bring the mail down to Troy Township.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's good to know. Dan, Sarah Schaefer can't film today?
No, we don't film meetings.
All right.
They can go on the YouTube.
They
All
are.
right, okay.
Yeah, they can always
Okay.
take it
So
from our YouTube.
I mean, they're filmed, but we don't allow secondary films.
Is that written down anywhere? Do you have that in a contract or anything that we can just copy of?
It's a policy. Okay. I'll talk to you later about it, okay?
Cell phone. Okay.
Okay.
As you know, the town of South Whitley held a town hall meeting this past Thursday to discuss EMS dispatch. We held the meeting in South Whitley and in the evening, quite frankly, Commissioners, because most of our residents work during the day. Although a 1 o'clock meeting is convenient for our retired commissioners, it's not often convenient for the working public to attend. Because of the open door law, I was only able to invite one commissioner. So I wrote a letter on May 26th and sent it to Commissioner Schrump requesting his attendance at that meeting. One week prior to the meeting, I received an email that he had a previous commitment and would be unable to attend. Then I reached out by email to Commissioner Western and invited him to be at the meeting. I did not get any reply to his email, and he was not in attendance at the meeting. Because I was unsure if Commissioner Western would be attending, I did not invite Commissioner Amber. I wasn't trying to keep you out. Commissioners, I'm troubled that you did not take the time to come to South Whitley and answer questions about this very serious topic. My son was hospitalized and having surgery the next day, yet I found 2 hours to attend and speak at the meeting. It was that important. I would like to state publicly and for the record, on behalf of the people of South Whitley, thank you, Sheriff Mark Gatton, for attending our meeting and for your support of our community. I appreciate that. I want to give you some bullet points of the meeting of what people had some questions about. Number one, why is the sheriff being denied the right to serve his constituency? And I'm just going to read through these and we can talk about them later, okay? What is the difference between a 5-year contract and a 5-year contract extension? Does Mr. Schrump receive any type of paycheck for serving on the Parkview Board? Does Mr. Schrump receive any type of gratuity, such as meals, golf, retreats, etc., for serving on the Parkview Board? Why not simply void the contract and the 180-day out and start the process clean? And lastly, why wasn't more credibility given to Mr. Amber and his 30-plus years of EMS service? We have been through the South Whitley EMS issue time and time again. This issue is not going away. I would like the commissioners to make a motion today and pass in the affirmative authorizing the Whitley County Sheriff to dispatch for Lutheran Whitley EMS. If you choose not to act in the best interest of the town of South Whitley and its residents, we will continue to pursue the matter to the extent the law provides. Thank you. And I'll take any questions you might have. Or a motion.
I would make a motion that we dispatch the South Whitley ambulance.
Okay, we got a motion. Lack of a second, motion will die.
Thank you. Okay, let's get back to the questions. The sheriff has been denied the right to serve his constituency.
Randy, I don't think on that one that really he's being denied. What we've done is Parkview has agreed to, if they don't have anything available at the time, that they will dispatch the Lutheran ambulance. So you've got the best of two worlds. You've got both ambulances in the South Whitley and Cleveland Township area at that time.
So what you're saying is if there's an ambulance north of Plymouth City, let's say it's at Thorn Creek Township, and Parkview's ambulance goes out, the nearest ambulance might be Wabash. Are they going to dispatch the Lutheran ambulance because of the amount of time it would take for a truck to get from Lutheran or get from Thorn Creek down to South Whitley, or from Wabash or North Manchester get up to South Whitley?
Their exact process, I couldn't tell you. That's
Okay.
If they don't think.
That troubles me. Number two, what is the difference between a 5-year contract and a 5-year contract extension? Let me give you my thoughts. A 5-year...
Let him answer the question first.
Okay.
Well, it's a legal question. I don't answer those ad hoc in meetings when they come from the floor. So that won't get an answer. They're not capable of answering a legal question. So I would say the answer to that would probably be meaningless anyway to your efforts. So.
Okay. My personal view, of a 5-year contract, and the difference between a 5-year contract and a 5-year contract extension is the contract would remain the same and you simply extend it. But there are so many changes as far as Parkview dispatching the ambulances, as far as where the ambulances are replaced and the regionalization of the ambulances. That's a huge change from the initial contract. Okay. And number 3, Mr. Schrumpf, do you receive a paycheck from Parkview for being on the board?
I don't get a paycheck, but I get a stipend for meetings. Yes.
So they pay you money?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you receive any type of gratuity, such as meals, golf,
No, I do not.
retreats?
No.
Okay. Because Scott Gabriel doesn't call you up and go, hey, why don't you come down and play a round of golf?
We're not going to cross-examine here. He answered your question. Please move on.
Okay. If we can't come to an agreement on dispatch, why don't we both have 180-day outs, both Parkview does and both the commissioners? Why don't we just scrap it? Start all over again. Do it the right way, take bids, and see who can best serve our community.
Randy, I think we just have to take this under your under advisement at this point, and, you know, we can talk about it later, but.
We've been talking about it for a year and a half, more than a year and a half.
And when we did talk about that, the transfers were the problem, right?
Correct.
In our new contract, Parkview agreed to add 3 transfer ambulances, and they've done that.
They have. But then, now they're taking the ambulances out of our area to cover for other areas because of regionalization. So what?
Is that a bad thing?
So, yes, I think it is a bad thing.
Wake up. It's an emergency. What's the matter with you guys?
If someone is stung by a bee in South Whitley and is allergic to bees, and they need an EpiPen or epinephrine to reverse those side effects, they can't wait for 15 minutes or even 13 minutes or 20 minutes for an ambulance to get there. We are just trying to provide in South Whitley another alternative beside the ambulance that we have. You know, we brought Lutheran in. They came in with no subsidy to the taxpayer. They're going to dedicate an ambulance down there. The sheriff said he would certainly dispatch for them. It's a win-win situation, yet you men are reluctant to say yes. And I have a hard time wrapping my head around why you're saying no. You know, when we first started talking about this, we met in December 3rd. Scott Gabriel's office called me and said, Scott would like a meeting with you. And I thought it was just going to be myself and Scott sit down and discuss it. Well, in walks Dwayne Gender and Dan Garman and yourself. I'm not sure if you were there as a Parkview board member or if you were there as a councilman. I don't know, but we discussed that. And
You don't think it was proper that I was there? I mean,
no, I'm not saying it was proper. It wasn't proper you were there. I just wondered which side you were on, because we didn't invite you.
that's easily said, because I'm a representative for Whitley County on the Parkview Whitley board.
But who contacted you? Scott?
At this point,
We don't cross-examine.
All right,
If you
we're not
got your points,
cross-examining.
you can make your points.
All right.
Let the truth come out.
Okay. And then last, why wasn't more credibility given to Mr. Amber and his 30-plus years of EMS service? We had Don get up here. He went to the extent of going to different areas and finding different contracts and putting things together, and you just dismissed it all. I mean, you looked at it and said, well, Parkview's got this under control. And you just dismissed it all. I don't think that's right. I think, you should have given some credibility towards his 30-plus years. You know, I was in here. I worked with EMS for 36 years. There are firemen that go on EMS runs as first responders. They came in and said, look, there's a problem, we need to work it out. And I think we easily could have. You know, at the time, they said, we were talking, you know, if we just put an extra ambulance on, that would probably relieve all the problems. And Scott Gabriel sat here and said, no, it's not feasible, we don't need it. Scott Gabriel said, we're doing you a favor taking over EMS. We're doing you a favor. Now, if we're paying Parkview Hospital $1.2 million, and they're earning all the money off of their ambulance runs when they treat somebody and they send out a bill, I'm sure they send out a bill for $2,000, $3,000. Every time they have a transfer, I'm sure they send out a bill for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Yeah, we're still paying them $1.2 million, and we gave them all the trucks, we gave them all the equipment at no cost. Does that sound right? Shouldn't somebody question that? And that's why I'm here. And that's why I keep coming back. Because those people from South Whitley deserve better than what they're getting. Because basically what they're getting is an ambulance that covers 3 different counties. If it's not in South Whitley, it's in North Manchester, or Wabash, or Huntington. It's not in South Whitley. Now, occasionally it is in South Whitley. That needs to be fixed. You guys weren't going to fix it, so we've got a fix for it. And now you're saying, oh, you can't do that.
Randy, do you know the stats for since January 1st to last week, what the stats were for the ambulance, for the runs, the time to scene?
No. And you know what?
Five different ambulances that ended up, the average is 5 minutes for Whitley, South Whitley, and Cleveland Township.
How do you do
There were
that?
36 runs. I investigated it. I knew we were going to
Who
have.
gave you the information?
Because I'll tell you, I can't get that information. Because that information's owned by Parkview now. Before I could get that information. Now I can't get that information.
We get that information monthly.
Okay. So if I was to go home right now and call the ambulance, call 911, I'd have an ambulance in 5 minutes.
I'm not saying that.
What are you saying?
I'm saying the average is 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 to 15 minutes. I'm saying, George, something needs to be done. Something needs to be done for South Whitley. These people deserve better. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay, Sheriff Ganton.
Well, first off, I'm going to say, besides being sheriff, today's a sad day to be a Whitley County citizen, especially South Whitley. Second, I would request and ask, Otto Boucher sat in here for years and filmed these meetings. Now, why can't the News 15 crew film the meeting today?
It's on YouTube.
So is there a statute that prevents her from filming a public meeting?
Sheriff, I'm not going to have a debate with you.
I just want to know, is there a county policy?
I won't debate your policies in a meeting. We're not talking from the floor, please, please. Respect the procedure of the meeting. I'm not going to debate that with you. You know that. If you're angry in here, don't vent. Just talk.
I'm not angry, I'm just asking, how did Otto do it without ever being said to? He sat right there and plugged in, and today it's denied.
I don't know how Otto did it. All I know is since I've been here, we do not allow filming of the meetings. That's all I'm going to tell you. So I can't answer who Otto is or what he did.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time in regards to the Whitley County Sheriff's Department, or the Whitley County Public Safety Answering Point. I'm not here deciding or picking which is better company or degrading one or the other. I'm here for public safety and would like to offer options on how this would not only work but benefit citizens. First, and this is a hard one, I feel I wouldn't be here today if things were done on a level playing field. I took an oath to uphold the office, the laws, the statutes, and provide public safety, and in plain do what's right and simple. I sat back during this contract and watched what I figure is a conflict of interest. For the people of Whitley County, especially South Whitley, I apologize to the community and my staff for not standing up during those times. I just sat back and watched the contract unfold. I have several questions I'm regretting today. As you can see, a lot of my questions won't be answered, addressed, or I will be told that's already been decided today. I'm disappointed that some have put personal interest and conflict of interest before the citizens and taxpayers of Whitley County. With all that being said, I want to do what's right so I can look at myself in the mirror and know I did. Today, I feel politics are at a low here in Whitley County. I've tried to reach out and show that dispatching the EMS, Lutherans EMS in South Whitley, can be done along with their options of offering when that EMS is out that Parkview will be dispatched secondly. I question how the commissioners signed a contract without getting written permission for South Whitley, as state statute says. I have two things today I request from the commissioners. One, there are sections in the current contract that can have changes made to them. One including, as Randy mentioned, the 80 days written notice to terminate. The only problem and concern I bring at that is if it would come back up, how do we vote on it? Second, I just plain don't understand how Whitley County Sheriff's Dispatch are the public safety answering point that dispatches for every other fire department or police department in the county that wants on it for free is being denied to the South Whitley residents. So today, I'm asking you, I don't think it can be brought back up since Don has brought it up and it was shot down. But if you can answer one thing, how are we denying these people their first ambulance being out as Lutheran and Parkview as the second? And why can't we all work together to bring public safety that would be stronger to the residents of South Whitley? As most of you know from the beginning, I don't think the contract's exclusive. And I continue today, don't believe it is. There are a lot of other issues and challenging questions that can be discussed later. I do know one of them, that they're worried about the liability of Whitley County Sheriff's Department dispatchers doing the emergency medical dispatch. They're still certified. My question to you is, at what time has Whitley County ever been sued for Janelle's dispatchers given that information? So again, my request is try to all work together in the name of public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Brandon Forrester, highway update. Is it up here? There he is.
First, we have a cover sheet for road plan for the intersection improvement at Liberty Mills, 900 South, and County Road 800 East. It's just standard procedure for all of them. Signed, so we need the commissioners, Parker, and myself to all sign.
Just a regular pen.
That will work, yes.
reviewed this and you're good with it?
Well, yeah, that's a project that's been ongoing for
3 years.
federal aid project, so yeah, a couple years at
Is there
least.
any start date on that?
As far as I know, it's on track to be let this fall, like in,
Bid
I think
let this fall?
October, yeah, so they'll probably do clearing right away, utility relocates the storm, whatever they can do over winter, and then get into the meat of it probably in the spring, be my guess.
That cost on that still split the same way it was originally.
Right, exactly.
We're actually done. I think we're actually done.
I hope so, but it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I think the deal was 2 or 3
it's still on the
years,
same-
and it's,
Yeah.
yeah, nothing's ever been said to us about it.
I'm gonna give you this, because you're the auditor, but it's not my official
It
submission.
started years ago.
Long time ago.
So I apologize for getting you this email this morning. I intended to get that to you Friday, but it's budgets, and those will be submitted to the council July 5th and 6th. So if the cover, or the sheet on front comes from the state auditor, that based on her revenue estimate, that's what we'll see an increase. The second sheet is where I took those numbers and applied it to actual revenue that we've received from MVH and LRS. And the numbers that, the left number, the 1.17 million, that's what we received July to December, well, I'm sorry, July to December of 16, and then 150% of that is what they're saying we'll receive in July to December of 17 is a 1.648 million. And then calendar year for the whole next year, we'll get 150% of January to June of 17 plus July of December of 16. So our revenue is going to go from 2.376 to 3.564. That's
great.
MVH, yeah. Still going to take some time, but we're going to do the best we can to get our roads in a little better shape with this money, so, and other things. The LRS is similar as far as percentages, 145% versus 150%, but there's the numbers. The 155 to 211 is the rest of this year, and then the other numbers are for all of next year. So that's great news for all locals and states. We're going to be seeing a lot more construction and maintenance of our roads at the county level and state level. So,
Brandon, so this will fund your 100% program that you gave us, as far as 100% of the roads that you had planned to do?
Oh, yes, the 100 mile.
For the chip and seal?
The 100 mile,
and,
you know, and more.
Okay, good.
The next page is my draft proposal highway budget. That's MVH money. You'll see third line down, there was a line for director, which we have eliminated that. I added the 11201 supervisor. That's the financial number for the equivalent of our drainage project supervisor in engineering. I just went ahead and added it there. I've added 2 truck drivers. You can't necessarily tell that because all the drivers are in one line, but I've added 2 drivers, and then I also added at the very bottom an office assistant, which I'll get to that. Don't get too worried yet. I talked to Don a little bit about that. You know, things like FICA and retirement and group insurance have all gone up. You know, the more employees you got, some of that's on a percentage. Longevity is based on all the accumulated years of service. Down into supplies, repair and maintenance, you know, we've got $250,000 for stone and gravel. That's the same as last year. A lot of the stuff is the same as last year. Bituminous is a little less, from $500,000 to $450,000, but I make up for that in the LRS budget. because there's extra money there.
Is LRS only available for material?
It is, yes, that is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
But that stone and gravel with the expanded chip and sealing, is that still sufficient? Excuse me, sufficient number?
Well, if it's not, I'll come back. There's a lot of variables in this budget and the whole entire plan for next year and the next 5 years, because I'm also in the process of applying for a $1 million grant through the Community Crossings Grant Program, and that would be for $500,000 this year, $500,000 next year, and that can be used towards chip seal materials. So if we get that grant or a portion of it, which we should, we absolutely
Got any
should.
idea when that'll be?
We are told
let?
that, well, right now they're taking applications. I'm in the process of taking applications. I can't submit our application until we rebid liquid asphalt at your next meeting. Because whatever materials that you're bidding have to have been bid after January 1st of 17.
And we got our bids before that.
We did, and most counties did. That was something that, as far as I know, it hasn't changed. NDOT took a firm position without maybe the complete understanding of how we do business. Most counties, I believe, from what I'm hearing, do that in the fall for the following year, but NDOT, at least at the meeting that Don and I were at, they were saying no.
I thought they didn't mean, but they meant it, didn't they?
Yeah.
It makes no
Now,
sense.
I've heard through a supplier that supplies most counties in this region that some counties are counting on NDOT changing their position. And I've been told that some counties are not rebidding their asphalt like we are. And
I don't think you can take that chance.
we can't.
No, we cannot take that chance.
We can't.
Lose $1 million.
It might be serious.
Yeah, so it could be $1 million decision.
So if we get that grant, and in theory, we'll know or have a better idea sometime in August,
Jerome.
then
So you think you're gonna know by August on that grant?
that's what they're saying. Now, does that mean August 1st or August 31st? Probably September 10th would be my guess, but.
I agree.
So the budget that you have before you is based on the estimate from the state auditor. Doesn't include anything for the grant. We'll deal with that after we get it. Through an additional or apply it to next year, however that works. But that 3.551 million at the bottom of page 2 is very close to being in line with what you see on page 2 with the spreadsheet. I had 3.564, so I'm actually below the projected revenue. A lot of things are the same. You know, we've looked at what did we spend last year, what have we spent this year, you know, the typical process. What you do see different on page 2 significantly is $60,000 for capital improvement and $400,000 for equipment, which is the $400,000 for equipment is consistent with what we submitted for a 5-year plan. We've already got proposed changes to that, but the 400 would work. The 60,000, we're working on a list. We know that our buildings need some help with paint or roof treatment. We're also, I just asked the supplier to give us a ballpark, what would it cost for a salt barn? Because right now we're keeping salt in a metal building and that's not good. So that may get bumped up to the top of our request list when we get to that point, but you know, we're looking at possibly improving some signage. The sign in front of the fuel facility is, I'm sure, probably the original sign. It's looking kind of rickety. There's lots of other things. I won't go into all the details because I don't have a formal proposal for that, but we're working on that list. Next page is the Cume Bridge. $50,000 for bridge repair, $150,000 for culvert replacement, $600,000 bridge replacement, $60,000 bridge inspection, $860,000, and that's within a few thousand of revenue from last year, from 16. So for quite a few years, we had additional revenue on the cash page, so we were over budgeting, and then we got to the point where we were running out of cash, so we increased the bridge rate, and now we're getting it back the way it should be, where your budget is in line with your revenue.
Brendan, on the bridge inspection, how does that compare to last year for the?
Well, bridge inspection is a 4-year contract, and the bridges get inspected every 2 years. Last 4-year cycle, it was about 104,000. I got an email that included some minutes from a state group of engineering consultants meeting with NDOT, and one of our current consultant said contract negotiations are going to be fun, and I scanned through those 8 pages of minutes. I can see where they're talking about making some changes to some of the processes and some of the rating, load rating formulae, and so I put a little extra in there. You know, typically it would be about 50% of that the first cycle, and then 50% the second cycle. So hopefully that's enough for that. I did submit everything to NDOT. There were a couple of snags that I have since fixed, things that had changed since 4 years ago, if you can imagine. But that's been resubmitted, and waiting on them to approve that. The next step would be to enter negotiations, so that's when we'll put it on the consultant, have them work up a scope and list of all the expenses, and we'll come back to you with that when we get it.
And as a reminder, the bridge inspection's 80% federal funding.
It is 80% federal funding.
What you see here is just our share.
Right, and we get that reimbursement after our check clears, basically. And the contract will be for a cycle that begins in March of 2018, so we've got time, but we are moving forward there. Next page, local road and street. That budget is up, and we've added or brought back into service the cold mat wedging line item. We've got some roads. We knew we were going to be getting some extra money. It's in our plan for next year to take some of these roads that are heavily traveled, like say Airport Road or 250 West, and those are 2 that we've got on our list. Do some wedging, kind of level them up a little bit before we chip seal them. We've done some of that with our roads some of our roads this year, the really rough ones. You know, we're not paving, we don't currently have the money to completely wedge and level everything this year, but we're making it better. That's what I'm telling people, we're making it better, or trying. So we've got money in that fund for next year to do some of that. 250 Airport, and it's a tall order, but we're shooting for Tri-Lakes also to get some work done out there. So, and then finally is the Lowett Special Distribution. That was the money that was dispersed to us last year from Senate Enrollment Act 67 that was to be used for road improvements, and specifically as our match towards the Community Crossings Grant. So that money was put into this special fund per direction of the state. It's sitting there, it needs to be used, so when we get to that point, we'll commit, in fact, we've got a letter of commitment to use this towards our matching grant, so.
Is there any thing that can't be used for? Or what can it be used for?
That is to be used for road improvements as...
So that's pretty broad.
Well...
No, it's pretty narrow.
It's pretty narrow. It's not to be used for county general.
Well, for road zone, just as long as it's road improvement.
Well, it needs to be used, it needs to be used as the match for your grant. And your grant, you have to apply with specific projects. basically our project is, we're asking, because one of the things that they will do is reimburse you for materials. And we're asking them to reimburse us for the liquid asphalt that we use for chip and seal for 100 miles of road this year and 100 miles of road next year. The stone, any wedging that we do, that's outside of that. We're just asking for the liquid because there's enough there, and I'm trying to keep it simple for them. Okay.
The other exciting news, though, is we're a smaller county, so we only have to come up with 25%.
Right. We need to commit $333,333.33, and they'll give us $1 million, provided the funds are available. You know, it's a competitive thing. The application, you have to show the need and the benefit and the support and connectivity and all kinds of keywords that they're looking for something positive. And so I am still working on that, the application. One other memorandum, I'll say, that came from the State Board of Accounts says that because there's a snippet in the statute that increased HEA 1002, which increased the gas tax for our revenue, there's also a line in there that says that we have to spend 50% of our MVH money towards the construction, reconstruction, and maintenance of roads. Now, when I just took the line items from our budget that I could easily say, you know, all culverts, okay, that's all going towards road projects. Truck driver wages, that's all, you know, bituminous, stone and gravel, those, when I took those out and divided by the total, we were at 80%. Now, I'm sure that's not going to be good enough. In fact, their memorandum is a 2-page memorandum with 4 pages of instructions and 8 new forms for us to track all of our purchases and expenses, literally down to the amount of grease, kerosene, antifreeze, tires and batteries, and other supplies that we use on our equipment on a daily basis. I really don't think that that's all going to stick. I think they just threw it up against the wall to see, but since I'm presenting a budget, I'm saying that it's going to take me another person to track all that. So that was the last item in personnel, office assistant. Just so you know, I told you I'd come back to that. Again, well, in fact, in the email, they say we're expecting questions and we will issue a letter in July. So we'll deal with that as it comes to us, but just in case, to be safe, I proposed yet another new employee, but you can see from the revenue we should be able to afford that. As part of the Community Crossings grant program, we had to submit an asset management plan. That was the plan where we drove every road and assigned a rating to it and come up with a 5-year plan. Our asset management plan was approved by LTAP, so that's a big first step. And again, the application's in process. I touched on the asphalt bids, and I have 1 permit. Do you have any permits, Jana? Okay, there's 1 permit. This is CenturyLink. This might look familiar to you because we just approved the same stretch, but when they come through, fiber is running a new fiber line. This is a repair. There's only 2 sheets for you to sign. I owe KBC 2 of them because I didn't get the 3rd after repeated requests. Whatever's left, and you don't have to ask if it got approved or not. I'm not going to do that person's job for them. I got enough to do myself. So there's 2 to sign when it's voted on, and then a couple extra plan sheets.
Need to vote on the road improvement plan that you gave them.
do they need to vote on it?
For Liberty Mills and County,
What's that?
for Liberty Mills and County Line Road.
We voted on that a long time ago.
Yeah, you did vote
I
on
didn't
it.
know if you did or not.
Come on, yeah, that's
Yes.
So who made
3, 4 years
the-
ago, probably.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I
been-
thought you meant
I was-
just to sign that, though, okay. I don't know if you need to or not.
Well, I'll be glad to make a motion if it make you feel better, that we approved the plan, but it's the same plan that we did 3 or 4 years
Okay, that's
ago.
what I was wondering. I
that's
didn't know
right.
if you needed another one to sign.
This
or
is
not.
just the technicality of the cover sheet for the plans that go to letting.
This is the same one that got approved this morning in the drainage.
It is, yes, so it looks real familiar to you. Your fourth time in 2 months to see that one.
I move that we approve this, but what do we use for identification? The number at top?
CenturyLink, Lincoln Way East, between 300 East and 400 East.
Sounds good.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
Get on it, found one place on each thing to sign.
It's just that.
Are these both the same then, or?
Yeah, they look different, but that's because they were prepared at different times after we asked for the second and third copy. That's all I've
Anything
got.
else?
If you've got any further questions, or
You haven't found that chipper?
it wasn't there when I left less than an hour ago.
It's the one we bought from Noble.
No.
That what?
To get that piece of equipment we bought from
The
Noble.
grader, yeah.
LaGrange.
LaGrange, that was LaGrange.
We
Oh,
have
yeah,
that.
we've been using that,
Oh, okay.
yeah. That was the best purchase we've probably ever made.
Really need to let Range County know the next time they're ready to do that, you're interested.
What's that? Oh, yeah, right, absolutely. Too bad they weren't getting rid of a chip spreader last year, huh?
Oh, but we appreciate all that you do, Brandon. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Any further, Brandon? Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks.
Do we have to do anything with that? Okay, next on the agenda, minutes. Everyone have a chance to take a look at the minutes.
Yes, sir. Make a motion, we approve the minutes as printed from June 5, 2017.
Got a motion to approve the minutes for June 5th, 2017. We've got a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, the claims. Don, I think you've taken a look at the claims.
I did. Before we get to those, which is not even anyway, I'd make a motion that we approve the payroll claims.
Got a motion to approve the payroll claims.
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
And like I said, I really didn't see. Did you guys have any questions on anything you saw?
I didn't see anything.
I didn't have any
No,
questions
thanks
on
for
them.
doing them.
They look good. They look
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
So, make a motion, we approve the claims.
Motion to approve, we've got a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Oh, there's three. Okay. There's three of them.
In the
there.
back.
Yeah. Didn't like Tom. I'm thinking that way. Have to sign later.
Oh, you got a fancy one.
Okay. Pam, did you have anything?
No, not today. I'd like to request to review the proposed salary wage increases at the next meeting.
Okay, good. And we've got a copy of that.
Got a copy, yep.
Yeah. Tom?
Not this time.
Don?
I attended the JDAI meeting the other day. For those that may not understand what that is, JDAI stands for Juvenile Detention Alternative. The whole idea is to try to keep juveniles out of jail if at all possible, find better alternatives for them. From the juvenile standpoint, it's good for them, and quite frankly, from the county standpoint, it's less expensive for them if we don't have to send them to a facility. So this is in its infancy, but I bring it up because the good news was we had applied for and we received a $57,000 grant to fund that. Now, what we're funding is the mandated position of data collection and watching that thing, watching the program, and they know. We made sure they understand the grant goes, the job goes. It's not something that we just get started on and then fund it. So as long as the grant comes through annually, the position will be funded. If the grant doesn't come through, the position's not funded. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up. Another grant for Janet to deal with. That's it.
Okay, Janet, did you have anything? Anything from the public? Scott?
You want me to come up there?
Sure.
My name is Scott Darley. I'm live in Cleveland Township. Brandon still here? This is a year late. I'd like to personally thank Brandon. A year ago, when the bridge in South Whitley was closed for an extended period of time, the road that I live on became a superhighway. And I called Brandon and said, "Can you do anything for us?" And within a day or two, he had reduced speed limit signs and some other signage out there, and it helped a little, not 100%, but it did help a little, and I would like to publicly thank Brandon for that. The second reason I'm here today, and I can't believe how nervous I am over this. You know, I sat up here for years and made decisions about the financial aspects of the county and never was very nervous, but today I'm very nervous. And obviously I'm here about the ambulance dispatch situation, and I do have several questions, and my first one is to Tom. Tom, you're the representative for Cleveland, Richland, and Etna Troy Township on commissioners, correct? Okay. Can you give me your reasoning for not wanting the Sheriff's Department to dispatch a Lutheran ambulance in Cleveland Township?
Well, he didn't even vote on it. I mean, he wasn't even a commissioner then, so I gotta go to the restrooms.
Oh, okay.
Well, but there's been a motion this year to do it. And
Well, I tell you what, Scott, we heard a motion today to do this. Now, if we'd had a motion presented with a plan, how this was all gonna work, if there was any additional costs to the county, how this was gonna work, and how the procedures were all gonna work, I would have considered seconding it, but I can't second a motion that we are gonna do something with no plan that's been presented to the commissioners, ever.
okay,
Scott, can I stop you right here? I think
Yeah.
we're going to take this under advisement, and we're going to start looking at this a little bit differently. So, you know, at this point, we've already discussed the EMS service, and I think, you know,
well, I was here a month ago and asked some questions then, and I've never got an answer. I talked to Tom Western more than a month ago and asked for some responses, and that begets my second question. There were several questions asked today. Can I be included in the list to receive your written responses to those?
I don't know why not. It would be a public, and I would encourage you to come and talk to the commissioners and go over this, because there are a lot of other dynamics to this.
Okay.
And I would encourage you to one-on-one meet with us and
I'm fine meeting in a public forum over it also. Are you?
I'm fine with it. It's just that we can't go over everything in a public meeting, that all the dynamics. It would be hours by the time we get through.
Well, and maybe that's the thing to do, is have a dedicated commissioners meeting to discuss this in depth. You know,
and we'll take that under advisement.
Okay.
We really will.
Okay,
Scott.
thank you, thank you. So you said that under the right conditions, you would maybe second a motion if you saw a plan and knew that it didn't impact the county financially?
Well, I can't say that I would, but I certainly would consider it. I can't just second a motion that says, do something without a plan.
Okay. Who would you guys as commissioners want to submit that plan? The sheriff or the town of South Whitley?
Well, I think it'd be a combination thereof, really. We need to,
Okay.
with Lutheran meeting with us too. We haven't ever met with Lutheran on anything.
Do you need to?
Sure, we have to know what the plans are. That's
Okay.
what we're.
Well, I guess the reason I ask that is South Whitley is the one petitioning to have them.
Right.
They're a public entity, just like you guys are a public entity. If all they're asking for is you to dispatch it, are you required by public statute to delve into the dynamics of that contract?
At this point, we're just going by what our legal counsel's telling us. That's bottom line.
Okay.
You know, we've made a commitment in a contract, and we have to hold to our contract.
Okay. It was alluded to today that maybe part of that contract may not meet legal statutes. Have you asked your attorney to look into that?
Yes, we did talk to him earlier.
Today?
Today,
Okay,
today.
Okay, today. And that was, the three of you asked him to do that today?
No, after I talked to somebody that was going to do a request of us, I asked Dan to check into that.
Were the three of you there when you asked him to do that?
I don't know.
I don't know if we were or not.
Well, did you do it in this office today?
We can't make decisions away from the meetings.
Well, I guess what I'm curious about is, are you having discussions about this behind closed doors?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I thought I had another question.
Actually, Scott, it's pretty quiet in there.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our own opinions on that, and
Have the three of you met with anyone?
Scott, this, you know.
Well, I don't want to cross-examine, but I do want to know whether or not you have discussed this in a forum other than right here in a public meeting, as the three of you at one time.
Oh, no. But I did facilitate a meeting. Lutheran people here, Randy's here. I did facilitate a meeting a few weeks ago with Parkview and Lutheran, and all I was the facilitator. These guys weren't here. We were just trying to work some things out, so.
Okay. Now, it's my understanding that you guys are in favor of Lutheran being based in South Whitley and being dispatched as a secondary ambulance. Is that correct?
We have no problem with that. The South Whitley has the authority to, if they want to bring out another ambulance service, that's fine, but we're committed as far as Whitley County. We made a contract, and Parkview has said that they will dispatch Lutheran. That's, I don't know how much better that gets.
So you facilitated a meeting between Lutheran and Parkview. Have you guys, or would you guys consider, as Whitley County Commissioners, meeting with Parkview, meeting with Parkview to see how Lutheran can be based in South Whitley and dispatched by the Whitley County Sheriff's Department?
I think that's what I'm trying to tell you, that you know, we're going to take this under advisement. We're going to have discussions with Parkview. We'll make a decision on what we want to do. But right now, you know, because listening to everybody, we have to be able to take that under advisement. And I appreciate what you're doing here, but at this point, we're going to have to deal with it from here. What's done is done. We have to do what we need to do from here.
Would you be willing to propose a timeline? I mean, are we talking 30 days, 90 days?
Oh, I would say within 60 days.
Okay.
That gives us 4 meetings.
Okay. And are you guys willing to advocate for Lutheran to be dispatched from the Sheriff's Department in any meeting with Parkview?
I made a motion in public, Scott. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Well, how about Tom and George? Are you guys willing to advocate for that?
Well, they're not going to prejudge cases. That's when things come up for vote. It was not voted, it was voted down today, or it will fail for lack of a second, I guess. So you're asking things about decisions they have to make through their job process, and no more than ambulance service or contract for a new truck or anything like that is going to be discussed in public until they do their research and their thinking on it. So I think that's, they're going over their stream of consciousness about how they approach the problem is not an appropriate topic for a meeting.
Okay. Your motion today, Don, was that the second time you've made that motion?
Yes, sir.
When was the first time?
I'm sorry. I'd have to look at the minutes.
Was it this year?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like today's the first day this has ever came up.
You've answered your own question.
So I guess my question is, if it has came up months prior, why am I getting an answer from you today that they have to do due diligence?
Let me explain something to you, okay? The ambulance service was voted on last year. The contract was signed last year, all right? There was much discussion. There was public hearings. There was people packed in here just like there are today. The Sheriff's Department, all the dispatch people we saw meeting after meeting. So that decision has been made, okay? It's over. You have come today and somebody asked that, that a commissioner propose a motion. And that motion was proposed and it failed for lack of a second. So that's the public action of this body. They don't have to sit up here and explain every reason in detail for why they did it. Their vote speaks for itself. So that should be the end of this discussion in that line of questioning.
Okay.
So this is not a deposition, this is not a courtroom.
I would like to ask...
Public officers, they act with their decisions from the dais, so.
Okay. And my final question today is, who prepared the contract extension for the ambulance service?
It was negotiated, I mean, it was.
Who prepared the contract?
It was an existing contract that was amended, and language was inserted and changed in public meetings, in public discussions, from meeting to meeting.
So
it wasn't the first proposition, like any contract, is not necessarily accepted. So everybody who was a party to that contract had a voice in the contract.
When a contract is prepared, does the attorney preparing the contract, does that have to be noted in the contract who prepared it?
No.
Okay. So, and do you know who prepared the original contract?
I was involved in it. I was involved in some.
Who prepared the contract?
Yes, I've prepared contracts. That's not the contract that was signed, but they're negotiated against. So, I mean, any contract is that way. I go over many, many contracts, Scott, and they start with somebody's language, somebody else puts input in, they end up with a negotiated language, and that was the nature of this contract.
Okay. Thanks for your time, Gase.
Yes, Gene?
George, Tom, glad I don't have your job, but just a couple of things. Just a couple of things. I won't have as many questions, but we've been down South Whitley noticing for some time now that we have a lack of ambulance service down there. There are a couple people here that are sitting here. I see that a couple of them here live real close to the fire station. They can tell you that that truck's not there most of the time. And the only reason I think that we're here is just to let you know there is a problem down in South Whitley. We've been told in other meetings that you guys didn't know that. So I think there's a group of people here today saying, hey, look, we've got a problem down in South Whitley. All we're asking for is a fix. I don't care if it's Parkview. I don't care if it's Lutheran. I just want ambulance service in a reasonable amount of time down in South Whitley. And I think that's all most of us want here today is just reasonable care down there. And I think that the safety and well-being of our citizens ought to be the forethought of our public officials. And for whatever reason, it seems like it's not today. And I appreciate all your efforts that you do. Again, I'm glad I don't have your job. I think a reasonable fix to this would be just put on the 4th ambulance. Let that 4th ambulance be the floater. If South Whitley's ambulance is out, that truck gravitates towards South Whitley. If Busco's ambulance is out, it gravitates over there. But we have 4 emergency ambulances, not transfer ambulances, but emergency ambulances.
Can I stop you right here?
Sure.
Last Tuesday, Parkview did put an ambulance in the Thorn Creek Township Fire Station it's a 12-hour shift right now.
Okay, is that a permanent truck?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think that's what we're asking for is a reasonable amount of time. And just one other point that I'm going to make to you, and that is your response time starts from the second that call hits 911. Not when the truck is on its way. It's the second that
call hits 911. That's when the people need the help. They're calling for help. And I think that the information that you're getting, unfortunately, George, is that you're getting a response time from the time the truck is dispatched to the time they get to where they're going.
That includes transfer
Well,
time?
then I would absolutely disagree with the 5 minutes, absolutely. There's no way. I mean, I did ambulance service with Don for years, and there's no way that 5 minutes is even remotely accurate. So anyways, take that for what it's worth. You know, if you are doing due diligence on this service, that means that you're around South Whitley asking questions, asking those who are the recipients of the service. And I think you'll find a much different number. It's very reasonable. You can just ask the firemen how long they're waiting for the fire truck to show up. So again, I'm glad I don't have your job, but please, I'm just asking that you give strong consideration to a better service for the South Whitley area. Thank you.
Gene, wait a
Yes,
minute.
sir.
I have one more thing I want to add. 2 months ago, Parkview offered to put a truck at Larwell to help South Whitley, Richland Township, northern Cleveland Township area, and it was turned down by the Larwell Fire Department. They offered to put it in Larwell, but it was turned down.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gene.
We'll talk about that when we're done here. I won't talk about the club.
My name is Leigh Ann Snyder, and I am a registered voter from Washington Township. I believe that South Whitley, the people of South Whitley deserve to have a choice. Also, are you aware of Indiana Code? It says IC 1631 5-1. It went in effect January 1st, 2017, and it says, Section 1, the governing body of a city, town, township, or county by the governing body's action or in any combination may do the following. 1, establish, operate, and maintain emergency medical services. Down here it says, an A county may not provide, authorize, or contract for emergency medical service within the limits of any city without the consent of the city. And a city or town may not provide, authorize, franchise, or contract for emergency medical services outside the limits of the city or town without the approval of the governing body of the area to be served. If you want this, you may have the copy.
We've got copies of that. Thank you.
And I would like the Lutheran ambulance to be dispatched by the Sheriff's Department.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Janet Howard, and I'm a resident of the town of South Whitley. I would like this reaffirmed as how important. I don't care if you try to get an EMS in Larwell. That doesn't help the response time in South Whitley. Back in the 1980s, I was that resident that got stung by a bee and had a reaction. We had an EMS in our town at that time, at all times. The response to our house, by the time I got in and made the phone call, I lost consciousness. Our EMS and our local fire department, because they were right in town, got to our house within minutes. Not an average of 5 minutes or 10, because if that's the case, I would not be here today. By the time our local EMS got there, I was in convulsions. And you just got to realize, what if it was one of your family members? Would you want them in that position? I can honestly say, I would not be here today if we did not have that EMS stationed in our town. And it's very important. And I hope you consider that.
Thank you. Okay. Meeting adjourned. So we're going to put the